The UFP is really an association of many free journalists and citizen journalists who all hold themselves to high journalistic standards, coming together and forming our own press association, something that's greatly missing from anywhere outside the mainstream media in this country. The idea of a free press corps is something that really doesn't exist anymore. It seems that a lot of the media that we see and hear, especially through mainstream channels, is in some way geared towards a specific narrative.
Most people don't really trust the media. They don't trust the mainstream media. People don't buy what's going on, and people are hungry for an alternative.
The only way I can describe it is I could see something was wrong. I could see no correlation between what I was being told and what I was seeing in the real world.
How can you just print government statistics and say that's the truth? Well, that's not journalism. The government lies. Everyone knows the government lies. The government lies constantly. Even if they were telling the truth the whole time, you can't print their statistics as truth. You've got to question everything.
Journalism is supposed to be, you report on the story, you can give your opinion, sure, but you make people aware that you're giving that opinion. And if you're empathetic, you show that, of course, but you're honest with it.
Journalism is reporting what's happening and the truth of what is going on. And the mainstream just isn't providing that at the moment.
The United Free Press really represents free and ethical journalism. It represents the right for citizen journalists to have credibility, to promote what they're seeing and hearing.
Every news outlet and every independent journalist is subject to bias in some way, and nobody can claim to be an arbiter of absolute truth. It's down to the public, and it should be down to the public or the audience of that reporting to use their own discernment and draw their own conclusions based on information received. What shouldn't be happening is that they shouldn't be being denied access to that information.
It is important for people to be able to access a wide range of perspectives. Do they have to believe everything they see from any of us in here? No. What they have the right to do is think for themselves.
The fact that it's one opinion that's allowed, and I'd consider it not the majority opinion. Most people don't think like this, but there's this culture that forces them to toe the line. And I really want it to end, because these are not people's opinions. They're just paying lip service to some weird new quasi-religion that's emerged. I don't know if we call it progressivism or what, but most people don't think like this, but they're beholden to it, and it's really scary.
People are allowed to differ in opinions. It is the bedrock of a pluralistic society, that people are allowed to express themselves, you have conversations, and they work out. The model that's being done at the moment is we say what you believe, and anyone who doesn't agree is a conspiracy theorist or some other delegitimizing term. And the UFP is a counteraction to that, and that's why I support it.
We need more independent, real media that's not just following along with whatever the government of the day is saying, because ultimately, isn't the media there to hold the government to account?
Maybe there was originally noble intentions for many of these mainstream media outlets, but now they have been completely co-opted and corrupted and taken down a path that doesn't seem to serve the best interests of the majority of people here. If you want to have a free society for as many as people as you can, then the way our media is operated is not that, it's the opposite.
It's like a political party now, the legacy media, and that's how I view it. There's no honesty. There's no integrity within it.
If the media isn't working, we need to set up an alternative. Now, it's like a natural process. I think it's Buckminster Fuller who said, the way to beat something is not to destroy it, is you replace it with something better. So when something's not working, you just build something new that's more functional.
It's important for independent journalists to sort of stick together in these weird times.
We need to network, and we need to support each other, because it's getting harder and harder. And their attacks on us are not the end of it, because there's so much censorship.
The deck is stacked, and it's stacked in favour of these mainstream outlets who are artificially promoted on these platforms. And then people like us who simply do grassroots independent journalism are taken out.
We're seeing a monopoly forming around who's allowed to report on certain topics, who's being given a platform and who's being denied one, not based on fact, but based on what is an acceptable viewpoint. And I think that's very dangerous. It's also very condescending to the public.
As I've seen many other journalists being censored or shut down or deplatformed or demonetised, it's important that there is some sort of association for journalists to come together to challenge that.
People need more, people want more, and people are willing to do more.
The material out there is there, and the human beings with the mobile phones, with the connections are there everywhere in the world. But that power's never been, if you like, brought together into a coherent force. It can be. A well-organised press association would be able to fulfil that role in education, in training.
The tide's turning, and if you pay attention, you can feel it. We have a responsibility, if you can see the lies, to do something.
We've seen all this alt tech coming out. People are moving onto different platforms. We're seeing new ways to communicate outside of approved sources.
This is not an activist group. This is a group that is thriving for a credibility that is long gone in terms of journalistic behavior.
The UFP is not a politically affiliated organisation. It is entirely independent from government. It is not under the auspices of any other regulators apart from ourselves. And we act entirely independently of each other with one common charter of ethics that we all sign up to, which will of course be judged against in terms of our content.
It's for everyone. You don't have to agree with any of our views at all. You can have your own opinions.
We're all different backgrounds, different politics, different styles of journalists, but we're all united with a common respect for the truth, a desire to get that truth out there.
We all have the same goal, and that is to just bring truth to people, I suppose, right? Bring the actual information. It's quite simple, really. It's just document what's actually happening. And the United Free Press seems like a brilliant way to have a bit of organisation to this.
There's so much potential here, and it's so necessary. And above all else, we're not afraid. We know we've got the truth on our side. So the more powerful we get, it's going to be fun knocking on those doors and being like, we've got some questions for you, establishment.